Hey, how's it going? And welcome to East Coast Brewing. What are we doing tonight? Well, we're going to brew up a beer. But what are we going to be doing? Well, we're going to be brewing a simple double IPA using the Mr. Beer 2-gallon keg. All right. So, what's a double IPA? My brewery is way too freaking small. But anyways, what is a double IPA? Well, hold on a second. First of all, we got to have a home brew. Oh man, that is good. It looks pretty dark because obviously the lighting in my mini brewery down here in my storage room is pretty crappy, but it's not actually black. It's actually more of an amber. If you check it out, it's the Oktoberfest lager from Mr. Beer. It is freaking phenomenal, just straight up. Check out that video. You're going to love it. You're going to love this lager. It is amazing. And as it starts to age, it's even better. So check it out. If you haven't tried it, do it. Anyways, we're doing a double IPA. And it's going to be a simple one, not anything complex. So what's a double IPA? Well, basically a double IPA has way more hops in it, has way more hop profile, way more hop taste, way more bitter for the most part, usually, and it's way higher in alcohol. So once you start creeping over the 7.5, 8 mark, you're getting in the double IPA area. But the reason that the alcohol is so much higher is because you put in so many hops. A lot of times you put in more fermentables or more malt or more sugars in order to counterbalance the large amount of hops, basically. So yeah, so that's basically what it is. So you get, the more fermentable sugars you have, the more alcohol you're going to get. So how are we going to build this? Well, we're not using a Mr. Beer kit. We're actually going to be utilizing this one here, which is the Canadian Adventure Ale. I've brewed this before. It's meant for a 5-gallon batch, but we're only making a 2-gallon batch. So now you can start to put the math together how we're going to build up that more fermentable sugars with our double IPA. As you can see, here's a regular Mr. Beer kit, and here is the 5-gallon Canadian Adventure Ale kit. Now, if you want to do it with Mr. Beer kits, go ahead, but use 2 of them, okay? But here's the thing, this was $14.99. These, in Canada anyways, are anywhere from $19.99 to $25. So $14.99, right? Makes sense. So we're going to make it cheap and simple. We're not going to be adding any more fermentables other than this, because this is going to have enough malt extract to provide us with that counterbalancing fermentables. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use that. And I've actually made this as a 5-gallon batch before, and it is actually really, really good. So if you ever want to try doing that, do that. And hops. We are going to be using not 1, but 2 ounces of cryo hops. Yeah, there we go. Now, what are cryo hops? Well, cryo hops are double the potency of a regular hop pellet. So we're going to be using the equivalent of 4 ounces of hops in this small 2-gallon batch. So it's going to be really hoppy. Now, I have used 2 ounces of cryo hops in a 2-gallon batch of a Mr. Beer kit with just the small Mr. Beer kit. And to be honest with you, it was way too much. It was way too hoppy. Now, for 2 reasons. One, I didn't actually use a muslin bag. That's what we're going to be using today, is a muslin bag, okay? And number 2, I didn't add in more counterbalancing fermentables, okay? So it was crazy hoppy. Like I put in the hops, I dry hopped it, or not dry hopped it, I put it in the beer mixture, and I let it ferment, and I thought it would settle out more, but it didn't. I mean, it was still drinkable, don't get me wrong, but it was, you know what, I love hops. It was really hoppy, man. So we're going to be using 2 ounces of these bad boys. And we're going to put them in a muslin bag so that we don't have all the particles left over, okay? But we are going to let it ferment with the whole process. We're going to put it in there, let it ferment all the way to the end. So what do we use it? we are using an ounce of Cascade, love Cascade, and an ounce of Mosaic. So how are we going to brew this up? Like, what are we going to do? I'm going to make it easy for you guys. As you can see, this plus this equals a double IPA. I'm not sure what it's going to come in at for an alcohol content. We'll do a hydrometer reading at the beginning and then one at the end, and then we'll calculate out the alcohol content. But I'm guessing it's going to be pretty high. Hopefully it turns out. You know, I haven't done a double IPA this way, but it looks like a pretty simple way to go ahead and do it. So that's what we're going to do. So what we're going to do is boil up 6 cups of water. We're going to put our hops in our muslin bag. And we're going to boil them in the water for 10 minutes and basically build a hop tea. Then I'm going to take these out. We're going to add in our malt extract. We're going to stir it all up. We're going to pop it in the Mr. Beer keg, and we're going to throw the hops back in, and then we're going to let it ferment. Then we're going to bottle it. Then we're going to taste it. We're going to do it all in this video. So let's get started. All right. I'll meet you up in the kitchen for the first part, okay? All right. First, let's have a little more beer. That's good stuff. Okay, see you up there. Okay, guys. It was pretty noisy upstairs in my kitchen. TV was going. I got family up there. Hence why I got the mini brewery down here. But you know what? I boiled these up for 10 minutes. As you can see, we've got our hop tea right here. So you can see all the hop color there. There's all the hops in the muslin bag. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take this muslin bag out so we can mix in the rest of our ingredients. And I'll be right back to show you that. All right. Cheers. Okay, guys. Sorry about that. You know what? I wanted to actually show you guys the boiling of the hops and whatnot upstairs in the kitchen, but it was, like I said, too noisy. So I mean, it's not a big deal. You know, I put the hops in the bag, the muslin bag. You see the muslin bag in there. I boiled it for 10 minutes. It's not really anything that's really crazy exciting, but you've seen them sitting in there. You've seen the color of the hop tea. Basically, yeah. So I took out the muslin bag, and what we're going to do next is we're going to pour in our malt extract. So I took the paper off of the can here, and then I soaked this in the sink in hot water to loosen it up because this stuff's pretty thick, okay? So that's what I did, and we're going to pour it on in here. Nice and easy like. There you go. See that? Yeah, I know my camera angles are not the best, right? But I mean, hey, we're working with a budget here up in Canada. All right. So you know what I'm going to do next is I've boiled up some water in my kettle here. I'm going to pour that into this here just to get the rest out, because as you can see, there's a lot left in there. All right. So best way to do it, boil up some water, toss it in there. Can't see me. Now you can. Hold on. Can't see me. Whew, I had to unplug the kettle, man. It get kind of dicey. Alright, we're just going to pour this hot water in here, okay? It's not rocket scientist. You know what? Some guys, they got like these elaborate setups where they've got like these cameras and these GoPros above everything that they're doing. You know what? That's pretty cool, but I can still give you guys the same basic instructions just right here. It's not that hard. So I got my spatula. I'm just going to stir this. Actually, you can't even really see it, but you know what I'm doing. So you know what else I'm going to do while I'm stirring that? I'm going to have a little home brew. That's awesome. By the way, you know what's funny? I have like a lot of store-bought beer in my fridge. I generally try to buy like different craft beers and stuff like that. Try different types of beers, see if I want to try and somehow brew these beers, you know. And but I have some commercial ones too. I'm not gonna lie. And when they're sitting in the fridge, if I have home brew sitting in the fridge, I will go to the home brew every single time. It's way more flavorful, it tastes better, and hey, you made it. All right, this is ready to go. Don't be an idiot and grab it with your bare hands. Use some oven mitts, okay? Don't be a hero. You don't have to be a hero when you're making beer. Just make good beer. Follow some simple instructions. All right, here we go. There we go. Look at that. Got it all. Let's put that back down. Now all we got to do is pretty straight up. You know, this is an easy brew. We didn't have to boil a bunch of grains. You know what? I've done partial extracts, like where you use partial extract, like what I just poured in here, and doing a partial mash with grains and stuff. And then I've done full all grain as well. And you know, I've done a full all grain batch, and it took me 4 hours by the time I was done. This, honestly, 15 minutes. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of prep time and stuff, but, and you can make amazing beer this way. So what we're going to do is just stir this up real good. You want to get it really good at stirred, okay? Stir this stuff up really good. Oh, man, smells amazing. Smells amazing. I think we got this pretty well mixed up. You guys want to see it? All right. There you go. There it is. We got our hop tea mixed in with our malt extract. And don't forget, we're going to put our hops back in here once we pour it into the keg. Okay? All right. Next step. You know what the next step is, guys? We're going to fill up the Mr. Beer keg to the 1 gallon mark, or put in 1 gallon of water. And it's going to be like ice cold water from your tap. And if you don't have good tap water, you know what? Use, you know, bottled water. But just make sure it's really cold, okay? Okay, we got our Mr. Beer keg ready to go. We got it filled up with ice cold water to the 1 gallon mark. So here comes the sketchy part. We're going to pour it into here. Oh, hopefully it all works out. Actually, I've been using this red pot for most of my brewing, and it actually pours into the keg pretty decent. There you go, boom, all gone. Okay, now we're going to top this off with ice cold water to the 2 gallon mark on the back of the Mr. Beer keg, okay? So, if you've seen my other videos, you don't need to see that because it's boring. Hey, by the way, I sanitized all my equipment with the, I used Star San this time. When I'm doing Mr. Beer kits, I usually use the Mr. Beer sanitizer that comes with every one of their kits, but this time I use Star San. It's awesome. Anyways, I'm going to top this up to the 2 gallon mark, and then we'll move on to the next step, okay? Oh, wait. I don't know if I like brewing beer more or drinking beer, or both. I don't know. Okay, we got her topped up to the 2 gallon mark. So once you get the extra water put in, you want to give it a really good stir. Stir it all up. And then we're going to take a hydrometer reading, because we're going to figure out what our starting gravity is. And then, man, do I look white in this light, like pale, pasty. I know I'm Canadian, but come on. I really got to get some lighting down here. Some nice, warm, glowing light. Anyway, we're going to take that hydrometer reading. We're going to figure out what our starting gravity is. And then when this is done fermenting, we'll take our final gravity and calculate out our booze. Because, you know, being from Canada, we like our booze. Anyway, looks like we're a little bit high. It's around 75 degrees right now. I usually like to pitch my yeast at around 68. So I may have actually put a little bit too much hot water in the can when I was rinsing it out. Because usually, oh, she's starting to drop down to around 72. So you know what? We'll probably be okay. I'm going to go ahead and pitch the yeast anyway. But first we're going to do our reading, okay? So we'll do our reading. We'll put our hops back in. Well, actually, what we'll do is we'll take the beer out here first. That's what we're gonna do. Sorry, sometimes I forget I'm filming. There we go. Okay. Now, as you can see, when you pour it out, you get a lot of foam in here. So you want to let that settle down before you take your actual reading. All right. So we'll let that set aside there. Yeah. Okay. So we got our yeast ready to go. Just gonna put that in. You know what I'm worried about? There's not a lot of room in here for when you get high crozin, which is when the very active fermentation starts to happen. It's like within the first, 4 or 5 days. But we'll see what happens. You could get a blowout, it starts to foam over, but that's okay. Anyway, Mr. Beer instructions. This isn't Mr. Beer. They say to mix it in, or no, leave it on top. Leave your yeast on top. This kit actually says to mix it in. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to mix it in. I always do anyways for the most part. But I think this here will help to activate the yeast a little bit quicker. So I have no idea how long this is going to take to ferment. There's going to be a lot of sugars in here, okay? So, you know what? At 10 days, I'm going to take a hydrometer reading. And at day 11, I'll take another one. And if they stay the same, that's how you know your beer's done fermenting, if your hydrometer's reading stays the same. So we'll do that and see where it goes. And if we need to leave it ferment for a little longer, that's what we'll do. All right, guys. We are going to put our hops back in. I'm going to close her back up. And you know what? We're going to call it good for 10 days. There we go. And yeah, we're already starting to drop down in temperature, so it won't be long. All right, let's see what our starting gravity's at. Whoa. That's not too insane. So it looks like we're going to be sitting at around 1.06. Let's see here. Sorry, I always do this to you guys. 1.063, I think. I don't know. Yeah, 1.063 is our starting. So it's not insane. So, depending on how much it ferments down, I don't know, we could get around, we'll creep over the 7 mark, I'm thinking. But it might. I was hoping to get into the 8s with this one. But with a starting gravity of 1.063, I don't think we will. I don't think we'll stick in the 7s. We'll see. Sometimes, you know what, I've had beer ferment out and be done at 1.010, 1.006, 1.012. You just never know. If we could get this one down to 1.002 or 1.004, then we'd be talking. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. All right, I'll see you guys in a few minutes to do the bottling. A few minutes, a few seconds. Okay, cheers. All right, my crazy beer brewing homies, it's time to bottle. 21 days. Okay, so I did leave this go 21 days for 2 reasons. One, honestly, I got really busy and I just didn't get around to it. So that's kind of really the only reason. But I did test the specific gravity after about 10 days, and it was sitting at 1017. So I was like, you know what, let's let this ferment a little longer, because I think it was sitting at a little too high yet. So I tested the specific gravity this morning and it was at 1009. So what does that mean? It means we got to have a little bit of beer, okay? And once again, the lighting in here sucks, but hey, that's not what we're really looking for. You guys aren't here like watching this video going, oh, really, his lighting is shitty. maybe we won't watch them. No, it's all about beer, brewing the beer, right? It's not about the lighting. I went and filled up my growler today at my craft brewery tap place, and this is a IPA from Black Bridge Brewery out of Swift Current, Saskatchewan. So it's really good. Anyway, so what does that mean? What that means is, you know what? This double IPA is not going to be a crazy double IPA. I wish it had come in a little bit higher, but we started off at 1063 and we ended at 1009, which ends up being 7.1% alcohol. So it's just creeping into the double IPA. It's gonna. I tasted it. It's gonna be pretty hoppy, which is awesome. It's perfect. But, pardon me. But you know, I kind of wanted to get over the 8 mark, and to do that, we probably should have added maybe some dry malt extract, or maybe a little more dextrose, or a combination of both. But we didn't. We just did the straight up malt extract out of the can, and the hops. And you know what? 7.1%, not bad. It's not really, I think it's borderline IPA, high IPA, to creeping into the double IPA. But I think it's still going to taste really great. It's still going to have a lot of boost. I mean, 7.1% on a beer is pretty high. So, so it's time to bottle. So what are we going to do? I've sanitized all the bottles. They're ready to go. And I put in the priming sugar on all of the bottles except for one, because I was going to show you guys what I'm doing. So what I do is I just take a bottle, I take my funnel, there's a little bit of sugar still sitting in there, and I just take dextrose corn sugar, and for this size of bottle, you only use a teaspoon, and boom, straight up, just like that. Make sure it gets in there, and you're good to go. And then you get the sugar out of the way. Hold on. Can't see me. Okay, now you can. Yeah, this lighting in here is terrible. It makes me look all pasty. Mind you, I am Canadian, so you know, not a lot of sunlight up here, you know, in the wintertime. So you get a little pasty. Yeah, then we're just gonna go ahead and start filling them up. When you're filling these off of the Mr. Beer kegs here, you just want to hold it at a bit of an angle. Just prevents more oxygen from getting in there, you know. Kind of helps out. And you can see it gets a little bit of foam in there. Usually what I do is I'll let them settle down before capping it. And then what I do is I squeeze all the air out, and then I cap it. And it seems to work out really well. I've had some people say, "Hey, you shouldn't do that. Just cap it." But it works all the time. I've been doing it all the time. I think there was one batch that I didn't squeeze the air out and then cap it, and it turned out fine too. So, you know, personal preference. I just like to. Well, let's just see if I can kind of do it here. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of foam still coming out, so I'm going to let that settle down. And I'll show you what that's all about. Let's see if I can do this one without getting much foam in it. I'm looking forward to trying this. It smells amazing, by the way. That hot bag is still sitting in the keg here. Nah, it foamed up just as much. I mean, you're filling up beer. It's going to get foamy. Maybe do this one. You know what? I'll just squeeze it as much as I can to the top. So we'll go like that. So I squeeze it about like that. Cap it up. And you can see it's, yeah, but I mean, as soon as it starts to carbonate, that poof, pops out. Less oxygen in the bottle. Less oxidization on your beer. Give it a little invert, right? Mix up those sugars. And you're ready to, oh, see that? It popped out already. And basically, what we're going to do is fill the rest of these up. You don't need to see me do that. I'm going to do the same thing I just did. And you know what? I'll maybe give it a try. You know what? Actually, I'll be honest with you. Usually I say, you know what? Most of Mr. Beer stuff tells you to wait, 3 weeks. And then I think even condition it longer. I can't even remember. I honestly just feel the bottle and squeeze them. And I mean, if they're really really stiff, I'm like, yeah, that's carbonated. I'm going to try it. But it usually improves with age, like, a few weeks down the road. But okay, I'm going to be back to give you guys a taste test to see how this double IPA-ish actually tastes. All right, cheers. Guess what? It's time to taste it. Yes, it's awesome. I'm excited. Okay, 2 weeks. I let it go for 2 weeks. It's obviously going to get better with age, but the bottle's nice and firm, so I'm thinking it's going to be pretty carbonated, right? So once again, this is an double IPA-ish because it's just creeping over the 7.1, so it's just creeping over the 7 mark. I wanted it to be higher, but you know what? I should have added a little bit more fermentable, some more dextrose, maybe a little bit more dry malt, whatever. But at 7, it's still gonna be pretty good. I mean, hey, cool story. I just brewed a Mr. Beer Diablo IPA pretty much straight up. Like, I didn't add any hops. I didn't have any hops. I've never tried it without any hops added to it, so I thought I'd give it a try. I didn't film it, but when I was testing it, it looks like it's gonna come out at like 8.3% because I added 400 grams of dextrose and 300 grams of dry malt, and so it made it huge. So you know what, I might film just testing it and see how it turned out. I'll put that up. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put that up and I'll tell you guys how I did it on that, and we'll talk a little bit about it and we'll give it a try. But anyways, let's get to this one. It's got some fizz. Oh, you can smell those hops big time. Boom, right in the face. With a little bit of sweetness. Let's give it a pour. Got the good old mason jar. You know, it's becoming like a bit of a trademark now for me, but really honestly, the reason that I use it is because these 740 ml bottles, when you go to pour it out into a beer glass, you can't get it all in there, and then when you tip it back, a lot of the sediment gets mixed up in there. Not that that's a bad thing, the sediment, but wow. Okay, that's a beauty. She's a beaut color. Lighting in here sucks, I know. But we'll give it a little bit of a... It's a little bit hazy yet, because it hasn't quite settled down entirely. Looks like it's got decent carbonation. A little bit of head on there, head retention. Not a ton, but I mean, it is pretty new yet. Smells good. Well, let's take it for a spin and see what happens. Woo! Okay. Boom, right up front. A lot of IBUs on this one. It is bitter. And we expected that with the double IPA. It's going to be bitter, but it finishes off really sweet. Like, not crazy sweet, but I mean, it's like you get that bitter punch in the face and then a nice mellow finish. It's like punch in the face. Oh, it's okay. Yeah. Beautiful taste. Decent carbonation. You know what? Another week or so, it's going to be spot on. Once this ages a little bit more, I think it's going to have a little bit more flavor, a little bit more body to it. Right now, it's like boom, boom. It's nothing in between. It's like big hop flavor up front. Not a lot of citrusy, though. I thought it might have a little more citrus, but not really. Just big, bitter, and then malt, smooth finish. That's it. So, I mean, it's good. It's really good. It's not freaking amazing, but well, I'll see what it tastes like in a another week or 2 weeks. But I'd say it's successful double IPA. Could have been a little higher, but it's still a success. It's not a piece of shit. So anything that you brew yourself that's not a piece of shit is going to be a success, right? Man, that's all right. Okay, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for another video soon. I know it takes me a long time to post these, and the reason being is because I put all of the parts of the brewing process into one film. You know what I mean? So it takes like what? How many weeks are on? We're in a month now, right? No, shit, we're at 5 weeks now because we did 21 days and then 2 weeks. So yeah, 5 weeks. So hey, bear with me. Maybe I'll do some more tasting videos or something like that. But you know what? People don't really, I don't know. They're not really into reviewing of other people's beer. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there doing the reviewing, and I mean, they're good. But do I really need to do that too? I like to do it sometimes. All right, hey, smash that like button, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Cheers.